Hello, I am Richard O'Connor, a retired U.S. physician. I'm speaking to you from the Jesse A. Marcel Library near Helena, Montana. This video statement is an appeal for transparent, unclassified congressional hearings on the subject of UFOs or UAP. That map you saw below was created by the founder of the National UFO Reporting Center. His name was Robert Gribble. Today, the National UFO Reporting Center is run by Peter Davenport. Since its beginning, the New Fork has recorded over 90,000 UFO sightings. Every red pen in that map, and there are hundreds of them, shows a UFO encounter with a witness at a distance of less than 500 feet from that object. That map was current through the year 1990. Imagine what it would look like today, 31 years later. By now, there is no question that we are being approached by a separate civilization. We do not need to be studying them. We need to be communicating with them. I am sending out this message to all of my fellow citizens, indeed all world citizens who are awake and aware of recent developments that concern the topic of UFOs, or UAP, the so-called unidentified aerial phenomenon. For those who have been paying close attention, by now each of the following points has become clear. UFOs are real. Some UFOs, the ones that we are interested in, are displaying beyond next generation technology. They are not created by any nation on Earth. The inescapable conclusion is that these high-tech machines, and that is what they are conceived, designed, manufactured, and operated by some group of highly intelligent and very capable beings who are not present-day humans. They are not us. I will be referring to these intelligent and technologically advanced beings simply as the others. Encounters with the others have been recorded throughout human history. For just how long human beings have been encountering the others is a key question, and we need to answer that question. The others have been disabling US and Russian nuclear weapons multiple times at multiple locations for decades. This fact has, quite recently, been confirmed by the semi-official spokespersons for the Pentagon. Those individuals are Christopher Mellon and Luis Elizondo. Until now, and despite decades of these ongoing nuclear interventions by the others, the American public, indeed all world citizens, have never been officially and appropriately informed about these incidents, despite the fact that nuclear weapons are putting each of our lives and everyone and everything we hold dear in constant existential jeopardy, minute by minute, day after day. Even today, for many, and perhaps even most of our citizens, if people are even aware that these events have happened, they are still regarded as hearsay. Many people still put these incredibly important revelations away in their file of fringe beliefs. We can no longer afford to behave this way. The nuclear clock is ticking. These events, originally brought to light by Robert Hastings and courageous U.S. military veterans like Captain Robert Salas, Captain Robert Jacobs, and Captain David Schendely have recently been verified by both Christopher Mellon and Luis Elizondo. The reality of these events can no longer be regarded as fringe beliefs. Similar nuclear weapons interventions have also happened in Russia. We do not know if similar events like these have happened in China, but we need to find out. These two individuals, Christopher Mellon and Luis Elizondo, have been and still are acting as semi-official spokespersons for the U.S. Department of Defense, despite what they may say or deny. They have not been stopped or censored from playing these roles. They have been allowed to appear on countless credible mainstream newscasts, and both men have, in the recent past, been personally and deeply connected to the Pentagon's efforts to study UAP. The term "it's classified," meaning we are not legally obliged to tell you anything about that, is being abused by our and many other governments around the world. Politicians who are willing to address and correct this abuse should receive the highest priority among voters. This has been and continues to be a huge and growing problem to our forward progress. Nonetheless, it is clearly time that each of us now take the reality of these nuclear weapons interventions carried out by these others very seriously and begin asking some really important questions. Questions like, why have these nuclear interventions by the others happened in both the US and Russia? What has been the others' intentions behind these actions? How many times have these nuclear interventions happened? Where have they happened? Why were we never informed about these interventions until now, almost 50 years later? Are those military personnel who were involved in these events still living? We know some are, but they are getting older. Time is wasting. Can they be asked to testify about their knowledge of these events before Congress in unclassified congressional hearings? Why have nuclear missiles been only temporarily disabled by the others and not completely destroyed? Does this pattern imply that we still have some serious, even critical decisions to make with regard to our nuclear weapons? Who are the others? Why are they here with us? And what are their ultimate intentions and goals? For how long have they been surveilling this planet and interacting with human beings? Where do they live? How do they survive? If this has been for centuries, as appears to be the case, have they had anything to do with the development of our present-day world religions? This is a critical question that goes to the very foundation of this country and many others. Is all the secrecy that has surrounded UFOs, and still does, a good strategy for our society to continue to follow? How much information about all of this has been given to the rank and file members of Congress who we send there and we depend on to represent us through our democratic system and processes that we all hold so dear? How much does our Department of Defense know about the others? And how much of that information has been kept from American citizens and from Congress, and for how long? Global climate change is becoming a very serious matter. Here in Montana, we have been breathing smoke from wildfires all summer long, even today. This is not going to get better, considering the trajectory that our civilization is currently on. So, what has been learned over the past 7 decades about the others' power production systems in their UFOs that could potentially be applied toward moving our civilization away from our reliance on fossil fuels for the energy that we require? Could UFO power systems help to ameliorate or possibly even reverse global climate change? Does our Department of Defense have any kind of a relationship with these others? If so, where do our officials see that relationship going? If they see it as a hostile relationship, then why is that? If it has to do with the others disabling our nuclear weapons, I say get rid of the damn things. They are ethically and morally indefensible. And we all know they can never be used. What we can be absolutely certain of is they are going to result in a horrendous nuclear accident somewhere, someday. Just how is our Department of Defense planning to respond to the others' nuclear interventions? We deserve to know that. Has all the secrecy and all of the counterintelligence efforts intended to divert public attention away from UFOs, has that been healthy for our country? Has it been worth it? Or has it simply taught us to distrust the word of our fellow citizens? Perhaps the most important question is, have there been any attempts made to communicate with these others about their nuclear intervention events? And if so, what has been learned from those communications? If attempts at communicating with those intelligent others have not been persistently pursued by the DoD, then why the hell not? I will stop here with this list of questions, although there are many more questions that we could and we will be asking. The primary point I want to emphasize in this video is that we are at a crossroads with all of this. It has become not only appropriate, but absolutely necessary for every world citizen to want to become fully informed about what is known about the others. We are constantly reminded and encouraged to be skeptical about UFOs. Maybe we should also be skeptical about the way our government officials, those in the know, have apparently been managing our evolving relationship with the others. For all we know, our very existence, that of our families, and even the entire biosphere of this planet may be in more jeopardy than any of us can possibly realize. The technologies exhibited by the others, relative to the technologies we know and understand, are simply off the scale. Global climate change is a relatively minor concern when compared to the threat of global nuclear war. After a global nuclear war, this movement that we call environmentalism is going to be reduced to simply removing the rubble and starting over, if there are any survivors at all. To even consider destroying an entire planet over geopolitical differences and socioeconomic ideologies is simply beyond the pale. This mode of thinking is not only unconscionable, it is also incredibly dangerous and will one day result in a nuclear accident that will destroy an entire city, and it will kill millions of people over the span of a few minutes. Truly, this has to be regarded as insanity. Perhaps it is this we are being warned about by the others. Do you blame them? Let's take a look at our reality. As far as our everyday lives are concerned, UFOs, or rather the others behind them, have not seemed to be a threat. They have set down a track record of 7+ decades that we have been aware of the others and their craft. During that time, we have not been overtly attacked. We have not been enslaved. We have not had our lands taken from us. The others apparently do not follow the doctrine of discovery that has been so consistently applied by our own government. Yet we are recently being told repeatedly that the others could be a threat. As I see it, the primary threat might rather be in how our military and other militaries throughout the world are deciding on plans about how they will respond to this presence of the others. We have been told little to nothing about this, and we clearly need much more information than we have been given so far. If you think this is not happening, you are deluding yourself. We now have a U.S. Space Force. What will it be used for? We find ourselves in the position of relying on U.S. government systems, officials, and their predecessors who we now know have been deliberately misleading the public about the reality of the others for many decades. They have been withholding vital information about these nuclear interventions by the others that could be critical to our own survival. As U.S. citizens, indeed simply as human beings with a vested interest in all of this, we deserve better than this. We are being regarded simply as human chattel, good for little else other than paying taxes and funding the war machine. I have grown tired of this. Have you? It is clear that the others are not going away. Therefore, we, the citizens of planet Earth, have a need to know what has been and is presently happening so that we can direct our representatives in Congress to make decisions and take appropriate actions to ensure that our relationship with the others evolves into one that redounds to the benefit of all mankind, rather than to our ultimate destruction. We need to know the facts, and we need to have a voice in where our relationship with the others is going. In my view, the only way we will become knowledgeable of all the facts is through unclassified congressional hearings accompanied by, and this is super important, a guarantee of judicial amnesty for all who come forward to testify, either voluntarily or under subpoena, to reveal what they know about this puzzle. Citizens should be allowed to participate in this process by submitting the questions we would like to have answered. The time to begin this process is now. Stephen Bassett and Reuben Langdon's excellent citizen hearing on disclosure, and even the Watergate hearings, can serve as examples to follow of what needs to happen. We can all help expedite this happening if we will all write to our representatives in Congress, let them know that any further delay in studying UFOs is a waste of precious time while the nuclear clock is ticking, and we want Congress to engage in unclassified hearings about this topic as soon as possible. Congress, do not allow yourselves to continue to be bamboozled by the Department of Defense about these issues. We have way too many people making plans for war and too few who are making plans for peace. Mandate that a new task force to be established to initiate contact and communication with the others. If it requires a decade, keep trying until it happens. We need to talk to them. Follow the good advice of the others. Begin orchestrating the process of worldwide nuclear disarmament. We cannot afford more nuclear disasters. The tritiated water, billions of gallons of it, of Fukushima remains a problem not just for TEPCO, not just for Japan, but for all of us. Chernobyl is now waking up. If we care about our future on this planet and beyond, we need to wake up as well. In 2012, I established this place, the Jesse A. Marcel Library near Helena, Montana. Dr. Marcel was a medical colleague and a personal friend of mine, and I can assure you that he was not a liar. If you don't know who he is or was, then look him up and read about the Roswell UFO incident. Although we have never been officially told the truth about the Roswell event, I can assure you that Roswell happened, a crash UFO was recovered by the U.S. military, and they have been covering that up while also studying it ever since, and we need to know every existing detail about that event and what has been learned from it, and many others. We could learn what we need to know about this through unclassified congressional hearings. For several years, myself and many others gathered here for weekly meetings at the Jesse Marcel Library. Since COVID entered our reality, we've been unable to continue having those meetings, which necessarily involved only people from our local community. We have always known we needed to engage a broader range of people with our meetings, but we didn't know how to do that. The silver lining with COVID is that I, like many of you, have discovered the technological wonder of Zoom as a platform that can allow us to reach out to many of our fellow citizens from this place. We now have the opportunity to meet with one another and a much wider group of our fellow citizens from all over this country, put our heads together and figure out how we can all contribute to making the secrecy surrounding UFOs dissolve into the dustbin of history. Perhaps, if we can work together, we can make all of this have a happy ending for all parties concerned. We must not focus on retribution. Instead, we must stay focused on truth. For sure, these are challenging times, but also exciting times ahead for all of us. If you want to participate in these meetings and engage in these discussions with us, please email to me your name and your email address, and I will add you to this library's list of contacts. My name is Richard O'Connor, and my email address is rkojaml@gmail.com. Better yet, start your own discussion groups through Zoom or some other social media platform. Create your own UFO book clubs. I am confident that thousands of separate pods of people all around the world who are engaging in sincere and meaningful discussions about all of this, people who are trying to get at the truth, will not go unnoticed by the others. They are very technologically advanced. We know this. They will know who is seeking the truth and who is trying to cover it up. They will know who is bent on making war and who is seeking peace and a mutually beneficial coexistence. Ultimately, it is they who will decide when and where and how our first contact with their civilization is going to happen. That time is drawing near. This is going to happen. It is either going to be peaceful or it is going to be very destructive. I believe how this plays out is being left up to us. We must demonstrate to them in no uncertain terms that we are ready for a peaceful coexistence with them. We now have the tool of the internet, and we must use it to our best advantage. Lastly, I have written this book that puts forward my own thoughts, analysis, and conclusions about the UFO and crop circle phenomena. The title of the book is UFOs, Nuclear Weapons, and a New Age of Reason. The book is available from Amazon. I recommend the ebook because of the large number of links that are contained within the text of this book. If you will read this book, I guarantee you will learn about things that you do not yet know. All proceeds from the book, beyond its cost to publish, will be donated to the international campaign to abolish nuclear weapons, to those who are thanklessly documenting the crop circles every summer via aerial photography, and to various nonprofits working to make this a better world. Thank you for your time in watching this video. Please feel free to share this video on your own YouTube channel or through any other social media. Unlike our government, I am not into secrecy about any of this. If you want to read this appeal for congressional hearings, you will find it on the Jesse A. Marcel Library's website. That's www.jaml.org. I hope to see some of you either in person or through Zoom at the Jesse A. Marcel Library in the near future. We are the citizens of planet Earth. We are many. Together, we can get this done and get this despicable and morally indefensible age of nuclear weapons of mass destruction behind us. We owe this not only to ourselves and our future generations, but also to all our relations. Aho.